Listen to the pouring rain. It reminds me of a song you sang. Does it tell you anything at all? Melodies are fading fast, telling me that love won't last. Can you hear the sound as teardrops fall?
Everybody's kind of got different things. They're starting to do different things in life too, besides just this.
Yeah.
But this is our lifestyle. This is what we do. I mean, without this, nothing else clicks. You know, the music makes everything else work, and we get up in the morning and, you know, I fix a cup of coffee and I'm listening to music, or I'm talking to somebody about music. I'm working on dates. I'm doing something like that, and I go to bed doing that. So our life is basically music. If I'm on a tractor, I'm talking about music.
Yeah,
You know, but the music is our love, and it's not. We didn't get in this as a business. You know, thank God. You know, we've been able to maintain that mentality of, you know, if it ever stops being fun, we'll probably raise more cows. You know, and we haven't had to do that. So it's 43 years we're still doing it, man. We have basically a stack in my house of multi-tracks from as far back as 1970. Because see, we produced all of our own stuff. We never had a record producer really, so we got to control all of our tapes. And in the studio, you know, we might record 25 songs, but we wouldn't release that many.
Yeah.
We put maybe 12, 13 on a record. So we put all that other stuff in the trunk of the car and took it home over the years. And we've got tons of music that no one's heard from as far back as Itchy Brother.
Nice.
And some of it's very, you know, raw and rusty. Some of it's done in the practice house with a mic hanging from the ceiling. Some of it's recorded in studios in Georgia. You know, just different stuff, but it all is a part of the history of the Headhunters and Itchy Brother. And so we're starting to realize that, you know, if we don't do something with that, that it's just gonna, you know, go to the four winds if something happened to us. And a lot of people who love music, you know, people like you, me, the band, friends of ours that love, you know, we're not trying to sell it and make a bunch of money on it. I just want to make sure that it doesn't become passe or gone. I want to make sure that everybody that wasn't there, that likes what we do, got to know that there was other things going on musically they never got to hear. And the Blackstone Cherry kind of helped instigate that by, you know, having some success and making us feel like, dang, these kids are just getting started, and we got all this music that's been laying here for years, and people want to hear it, so we should try to get it out. And then on top of that, then we've gotten fired up and started writing a whole lot of stuff again. And we went in the old practice house in December, and there's a guy named Jamie Johnson who's a country singer.
Yeah, Jamie Johnson.
Great guy too. And he and his whole band are like fans of Headhunters. And, you know, we didn't know that, but we went out and played a few dates with them last year, and you know, we get ready to play, and they'd all be standing on the side of the stage going, oh, far out, man, it's going to be great, you know. And so they were big fans, and they kind of encouraged us also. You know, another bunch of young guys that said, you know, man, y'all need to be making some more records, man. We got some new music and all that. And so at the end of the summer, you know, we thought about it a lot, and actually a little guy played guitar for him, Wade Battle, a little dude with chin whiskers, kind of like you know, yeah.
I got you.
Wade, he said, man, if y'all want to record that old music house, I'll come up there and bring Pro Tools, and we'll set it up, we'll do it.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so about November, we called him up. We said, okay, you want to do this? And we kind of made room in the practice house and put the bass amp upstairs, and we put my guitar amp in one room, put Greg's amp in the kitchen, and we kept the drums in the main room, practice room, with a mic, with vocals. And we went at it, man, tore into it. We wrote 17 new songs, recorded them, and
Is that the first time y'all had done it like that there?
Yeah, it was. We've wanted
all
to do
that
it.
time.
Well, we've wanted to do it all of our life, Louis, but the problem was, you know, the best we could come up with would be a couple of microphones hanging in the ceiling. And believe me, we have some unbelievable recordings like that. But, you know, in order to put it out an album in the marketplace, it would have needed to have been done. I mean, you know, there were times when, heck, man, we could have pulled a Atlantic Records recording truck up there and recorded if we wanted to. But it just, man, the times weren't, they wouldn't accept something like that, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just now getting to where everybody's in an entrepreneurish type world today, and it's like people will accept an album recorded in an old rustic farmhouse. And, you know, if you'd done something like that 15 years ago, they'd laughed you out of town or something, you know? And it would have been great, but the mindset of the industry has to be there or they won't get it, man.
Yeah, I got you.
You know, or you got to be the first guy to do it like the band did Big Pink in a house, you know. And that's what this album came off a lot like, man. It came off that same vibe of like the band's Big Pink.
Yeah.
And it's because we're in our own domain, man.
Yeah.
You know, we're there in the house, and we started recording the day after Christmas, and you remember how cold it got.
Mm.
There was icicles 36 inches long hanging off that old house, and we had no heat. There's no heat, no running water in there, and we got electricity. We got no water. We got no insulation.
They're using kerosene heaters?
We used kerosene and two oil heaters, and it was 10 degrees. So basically, we was in a barn, you know, with no heat.
I got you.
And but you can feel the intensity of that in the house. But it was like just being there, man, and a place where we've been playing ever since 1968, and finally, you know, this guy's in the other room got all these tools set up, you know, recording, and we got these great mics and stuff, and it, you know, it was magic. It really was.
Did y'all do all the writing and recording and everything there? I mean, y'all just went there.
Oh yeah, we always write in the
or...
practice set. But I mean, naturally, everybody comes up with an idea at the house in the middle of the night, and you jump up out of the bed, half asleep, you know, and you know, play this little riff or something, or write something down. But when it all came together, I really don't write well anywhere much except the practice house, because it's just such a cool vibe. You know, I can go in there and light some incense, man, and, you know, drink 2 or 3 beers, and I just get creative, you know. I come up with something then. And, you know, I never been able to write a damn song on the road. I mean, it's like the road and the practice house and the studio and all this stuff, they're all different entities within themselves. Now, I've never been able to, I mean, some people say they write on the road, but, and I've, you know, come up with little ideas, but I mean, I really get in the groove when I get in that house and shut the door and you know, or sit out on the porch there in the couch. We got a couch on the porch, you know, for real. No, the boys said that in their song, but it's the truth, man. You know, well, you know, every Billy's got to have a couch on the porch, you know. But it's cool, man, to have an old farmhouse. And I mean, if you saw it, you said, this thing dangerous looking. You sure it ain't gonna fall in on us? And believe me, it won't fall, I don't think, knock on wood, because Blackstone Cherry's been practicing in it.
History there, though.
Oh yeah, man. It's like, you believe me, if you ever get a chance to come down and see it, his walls speak to you. They really do, man. Pretty, you know, it's like, I know a lot of people look at it and they go, well, that's just an old farmhouse. But when they walk in, all of a sudden, all this memorabilia on the wall, back to the 60s and stuff, and everybody's like, most of these kids that come in there, they've never heard of the people on the wall. So it's an education for them. And it was for the kids, you know. When Blackstone Cherry started, you know, they'd say, you know, who is that? Who is that guy there? I said, well, it's Sonny Boy Williamson there. It's Muddy Waters. And they had the computers, which we never had. And they'd go look these guys up, and they'd dig the music, and they would write from it, you know. And eventually, Blackstone Cherry actually started doing Hoochie Coochie, man. I think the best version I ever heard of besides Muddy's.
That's awesome.
I saw him do it in New York City, and it just about took everybody out up there.
just part one. Don't forget to check out part two with Richard Young, Kentucky Headhunters on SplatterTribe.tv. This is Louis Primal. Thanks again.